Sooner or later, something bad, or worse, is gonna happen.
Grandma, we live in a zoo!
I'ma sound like such a hater, but these designs really suck. Night of the Zoopocalypse, an unexampled but overall pretty weak picture. This film is actually very interesting because it feels one of a kind, but at the same time, the writing doesn't really have much good characteristics to it or definition to it to actually make it stand out and feel different. And I know how that may sound, but like I definitely see a unique idea here. I don't actually remember the last time that like I don't even think there is a time to where you saw like a kid's movie actually go into like zombie territory or like with animals anyway. I think this is the first time it's done. Not like Paranorman, whatever, the Weenie Dog, whatever movie, Frankenweenie, that's what it's called. Nothing like that, but like full animal cast, full animals in a zoo. I don't think that's been done before. And I really wish I could have said this movie stuck the landing, but it's so goddamn boring and it's just not interesting. The kids I had in the freaking movie theater, they were just not even paying attention to it. Nobody was paying attention to it. The only thing that really got like a rile or like sort of like fun or like laugh out of anybody was probably the little pink hippo. Pink hippo's kind of based. This is a comedy adventure story, and I say it's solely adventure for the most part. There's no real comedy.
Hi, I'm Pooh. I'm a pygmy hippo. Or am I?
Majority of the comedy in this movie comes off as dad's first joke. And it's seriously unfunny to the point to where I don't even think a little kid would laugh. And my theater had nobody laughing in it. The only thing that's really comedic about this movie is the character designs. And I don't necessarily mean that in a good way. Like, the designs are very unique, but like, you wouldn't really call it unique. It's a little complicated. In my eyes, there's two types of unique. One is very uniquely good. It stands out. It is very like, it is almost like distinct. Like it has a distinct art style, distinct vibe to it. And the other is kind of like, it's bad. It's uniquely bad in the sense that like nobody would want to copy this. That's not to slight the animation in any sort of sense, because the animation is actually pretty good for the most part. Even the lighting is just, the art style and the character designs leave much to be desired. One thing that doesn't really leave much to be desired is the score. The score is actually pretty phenomenal. I can't even lie. I don't necessarily know if it's the case of the bad writing that made me recognize the score and praise it so much, but I had an absolutely fun time listening to it. It is one of the biggest highlights of this whole entire movie. There is a song, more so a jingle that they sing in this movie, and it sucks, but like, I don't really count that as music per se, so it's absolutely fine. Now to talk on this story is about a wolf named Gracie, and she lives a normal life in this zoo until something crazy happens. Like a meteor hits down and starts infecting these animals, and it starts going around the whole zoo, and it's like a sort of like survival sort of thing for her. This movie really feels like it should. It just really should be better, but it's not. The writing brings it down so much, and it's obnoxious at point. Gracie is one of the worst protagonists ever because she has this very like, I can't remember. I think it might have been a southern accent, and which is absolutely fine, but like it feels like such a mismatch for her character and what she's about, and she doesn't say anything interesting. You also meet this lemur who is, I believe, French and is like super into like movie nights and like kind of breaks the fourth wall, talking about like, oh, you know, we're in Act 2 right now. We're in Act 3, blah, 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 blah. It's not very entertaining. There's a capybara character, which I think they just got it so that she could say capybara, or I don't know. There's just no real point to her. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. There's some other characters that don't really matter, but there is one character that matters, and it's the tiger, I believe. Benson or Ben, one of the two, I'm not too sure, but their voice, they sounded like they were actually a voice actor. Not to say the other characters weren't like voice actors or anything like that. It was just that like this person sounded like they knew what they were doing. Come to think about it, I think the tiger has some of the best writing and some of the best like direction in the whole entire movie, which is weird because they're not necessarily a main character, they're a side character. And yeah, overall, I'm not really too impressed with this movie in any sort of sense. I do like its premise. I do like the idea it is going for. It's just that the writing brings it down and it's not comedic. And in a comedy adventure story, you kind of need to be a little funny. So I gotta give this movie a 2 personally. But yeah, that's all I gotta say. Anyway, how's it going, pups? It's the Canine, and I'm